How appropriate would it be if Jimmy Kimmel's late night career ended with him saying something that wasn't funny? Take a look.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
I'm Rich Lowry of National Review, and there are two things notable about that clip, right? One is factually incorrect. Two, it's not a joke. It's not even an attempted joke. So let's take a step back and consider what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. Why is he so ignorant? And why did he really stop even trying to be funny? He wasn't always this way. He wasn't always a priggish, self-regarding purveyor of political sermonettes. One of the big breaks in his early career was co-hosting with Adam Carolla The Man Show. Remember The Man Show?
And just as these heroic men did more than 60 years ago, we are building a dam.
A dam to hold back the tidal wave of feminization that is flooding this country.
A dam to stop the river of estrogen that is drowning us in political correctness.
A dam to urinate off of when we're really drunk.
We call this dam The Man Show.
Way before its time, beginning in 1999, The Man Show was really a precursor to the manosphere podcasting world that had played such an outsized role in Donald Trump's election in 2024. Kimmel and Carolla routinely did segments that would get denounced and get them drummed out of polite society today, like this one, poking fun at women's suffrage.
Worst moments in man history. 1920. Men give women the right to vote.
Women are voting. Seems like almost every year now, all thanks to the women's suffrage movement.
Led by Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, pioneers in the field of bitching, moaning, and complaining.
But after all their struggle and sacrifice, how many women today even know what the word suffrage means?
We hit the streets to find out.
How long is this going to go on?
Ladies, unite against suffrage. End the suffraging now.
We're trying to stop the suffrage and the suffrage of women in this country.
Sir?
I would be happy to sign.
Thank you very much.
You saved the dolphins. Now let's stop the suffrage.
Pretty amusing, right? Couple things going on there. One, it's outrageous. Who really opposes the 19th Amendment? Two, they're making fun of women, but they're also making fun of themselves. They're saying women are misinformed, but they're really the idiots. So there's an element of self-mockery, and that's key, because if you're engaged in self-mockery, you can't take yourself too seriously. You aren't being overly earnest. The 17th century clergyman Cotton Mather had a lot of virtues, but I don't think he was very self-mocking. So how do we get from that Jimmy Kimmel to this Jimmy Kimmel on CBS Sunday morning not too long ago?
So you don't mind if Republicans turn off your show?
I don't say I don't mind. I mean, I love for everyone. I want everyone with a television to watch the show. But if they're so turned off by my opinion on health care and gun violence, then I don't know. I probably won't want to have a conversation with them anyway.
Good riddance?
Well, not good riddance, but riddance.
Whoa, there's Jimmy Kimmel kissing off half the country. That is such a different attitude than late night hosts used to have. The king of them all, Johnny Carson, he had social views. He had political views. He didn't share them or try to impose them on anyone because he realized fundamentally he was an entertainer and he wanted to have the widest possible appeal. That's not Jimmy Kimmel's approach. What's behind that? Well, a key driver. Let's look at this clip from last year.
I laugh when people say, oh, you've got Trump derangement syndrome. If you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome.
There it is. He considers derangement regarding Donald Trump the only rational position. So what follows from that? Well, one, you're going to have contempt for about half of the country because you think they are stupid and irrational. Two, you're going to take on probably a sense of mission. It's your job to show that other half of the country how really stupid and irrational it is. And three, you're going to begin to take yourself too seriously. And he was encouraged in this. CNN called him America's conscience. He was regarded by people as the mayor of Hollywood. So you add that all up, and what you get is something like this.
Hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
What is he doing there? That's not an attempted joke. It's a political statement. He is seeking clapter, right? He's seeking the affirmation of people who already agree with him. He's not trying to get laughter. To be funny usually requires several things. You need to be irreverent. You need to go beyond conventional wisdom or against conventional wisdom. And very often you have to be willing to, quote unquote, punch down when it comes to the left's hierarchy of privilege and victim groups. Consider Dave Chappelle when he started talking about the alphabet people.
But you see, what I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people. You know who I mean. Those people that took 20% of the alphabet for themselves. I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. It's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's and them G's and the T's.
Jimmy Kimmel would never do that. Maybe 20 years ago, but not now. Or think about Shane Gillis, canceled off of CNN, and then he becomes so huge because he's funny and irreverent that SNL has to have him back.
Yeah, I'm here. Most of you probably have no idea who I am. I was fired from this show a while ago, but don't look that up, please. If you don't know who I am, please don't Google that. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. I don't know. I probably shouldn't be up here, honestly. I should be home. I should be a high school football coach.
The other thing, going back to Chappelle and the alphabet people, when he did that, it was fresh and new, right? If you tried to do it now, it wouldn't be funny anymore because it's already been done. When was the last time Jimmy Kimmel did anything new or interesting? I think his approach and the approach of other so-called late-night comedians is just to stick with what's tried and true, to desperately hold on to the last vestiges of a dwindling audience. The king of late night now, Stephen Colbert, has about 2.4 million viewers. Kimmel is under 2 million, about 1.7. They are easily outrated by a lot of Fox shows on any given day. And the trajectory has been steadily down. And if you look at Kimmel versus Greg Gutfeld, Kimmel steadily descending. Greg Gutfeld, who is different, steadily on the ascent. Another thing going on with Kimmel is he became a celebrity, and the show is really by and for celebrities. When you're doing that, you are absorbing naturally all the social and political attitudes of the celebrities. The second half of the opening segment that was so controversial the other night when Kimmel talked about the Kirk assassination was all about the Emmys. Who cares about the Emmys anymore?
I'd like to talk to you about my charity, okay?
Okay.
It's called Guillermo's Child.
Okay.
I'm looking for a spokesperson, okay? Read it right there to the camera.
Okay.
On top of all this, Jimmy Kimmel is just not a very good social and political commentator. He doesn't know anything. On Monday night, he was still saying the killer was MAGA, right? After a weekend where we had the governor of Utah, the Republican Spencer Cox, universally considered a credible source, saying that the killer was soaked in left-wing ideology. After we had confirmation that his boyfriend was so-called transitioning, after we had law enforcement sources telling credible media outlets that the trans stuff was likely a motive, Kimmel was still saying the killer was MAGA, because apparently none of this information, none of these facts filtered down to Jimmy Kimmel, because he lives, like many of these people, in an information bubble totally defined by slanted left-wing sources. So here you have a show that isn't entertaining and isn't informative either. So what's the point? And this is comprehensively the situation across broadcast late night. Stephen Colbert didn't just stand up for Jimmy Kimmel in his monologue after his suspension. He said that his completely erroneous statement was totally defensible.
Let's see what he said.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving.
Is that the clip? Really? Because that's just Jimmy Kimmel.
At this point, that's just active disinformation. It's taking something that's been widely debunked, that's knowably false, and presenting it to your audience as true because it suits your political agenda. And again, this is pretty much what we get across the board in broadcast late night. If this game were on the up and up, you'd have, I don't know, about a third of hosts who are noticeably progressive, a third noticeably independent, a third noticeably conservative. That is not the case. We get shows that are politically slanted, we get shows that aren't funny, and Jimmy Kimmel was Exhibit A, and that's why a lot of people, to quote his words from several years ago, aren't going to say good riddance, but just are going to say riddance. I'm Rich Lowry, over and out.